Howdy, 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 and welcome to another episode of the DirtInfo Podcast. This week, Carter walks us through his transformation into a lobster, and I recap my trip to Mississippi Thunder. We then give our opinion on the late model, modified, and stock car news and notes we're following. We also have a special segment this week, the DirtInfo Podcast Speedweeks, in honor of Illinois Speedweeks kicking off. And as always, we send you home with one for the road.
And if you could just make sure to like, subscribe, comment too. Comments are good. And leave a review on Spotify and Apple too, because we learned those are a thing, I think, last week. So
Yeah.
so I guess with that, you want to go into styling and profiling, Josh?
Absolutely. I'll go first. So I think we're doing a little out of order that we talked about, but I'm gonna go first. So
Okay.
I picked this up this weekend, and I'll tell you where in a second. But it's a Ricky Thornton shirt, so everyone can probably guess where I got it.
Circle
But
City.
yeah, that was a long drive. Uh, but anyway, no. Honestly, there wasn't a ton that caught my eye. This one did for two reasons. One, late model on the front. I dig it. And also, yeah, what's the first question you ask me every time? What's the car on the back? Now I don't have to worry about it. It's right here.
I just don't like the graphic like on the
uh,
front of. I have a few like it, and I'll wear them sometimes, but I don't know. I just never a huge fan of it.
I like it because it's unlike all the other ones I have. So I'm just kind of like, yeah, late model on the front. I dig it. So I picked this one up, and the color is awesome. I like this. I don't know. I like not black. So I have two huskies. They turned everything into gray. So I try to stay away from black the best I can. So I liked it. But anyway, so that's what I got on. What are you wearing?
Uh, Bill Baylog, the North Pole Nightmare. I don't know what year I got this. Like 2020-ish probably. I believe I got it at Plymouth, if I remember right. But he's on the Outlaws now, so. But yeah,
Yeah.
he obviously ran IRA by me for a long time. And I saw him win a lot of races. So, and he's got a cool car. That was the main reason I got it. So,
Yeah. Yeah, he does actually kind of have a cool car. Um, Also, you can just say you were there before the wins because I've been kind of impressed. He's been second year on tour now with Outlaws, and he's running. He had been running pretty good to start the season, so I know that.
I was there before the. Well, actually, technically, I was there at his first Outlaw win in 2016. So at
Oh,
Beaver Dam.
oh, you are a true original. That's my counterculture bonafide coming out. That's like bands. Like I like bands before they're famous, and then when everyone else likes them, I'm like, nah. But anyway, moving on. So that's our shirts. What'd you do this weekend?
Rained out again Friday, third week in a row. So
Man,
yeah, weather has not been kind to Friday, but this week, hopefully it looks no rain anywhere Friday. So hopefully that stays true. But weather has been nice, at least to 141 on Saturday, because I was supposed to be at Plymouth, and they rained out at like 9 a.m. or something. Which if you're gonna rain out, I appreciate that because I can, if I wanted to go further, I could have.
yeah.
But 141, I knew they were gonna race, so I wasn't really too worried. So I went there. They had a higher car count than the last 2 weeks. They were at 218 this week.
Right
Um,
on.
and they were done at like 10, between 10:10 and 10:20. They had enough time to run a non-qualifier race for the sport mods. Like that,
Really,
yeah, they added the winner gets $100 in a trophy. So they added that this year. They were still done before 10:30. So
I dig it.
yeah, I was there Saturday, and then Sunday I went to a new track. I went to Madison International Speedway in Madison, Wisconsin, for the ASA Midwest Tour race. I think it was 15,000 to win, and it was a 200 lap race for them, which is, I believe, the longest race I've ever. Actually, I know it's the longest race I've ever seen, and and it was very hot. That is how I turned into a lobster. It actually wasn't hot. It was sunny. It was very
Yeah.
sunny, and I'm so used to being at like a dirt race where when it's sunny, it's only sunny for a couple hours and it's dark out and
Hmm.
you're usually fine. But we were there at like 10:30 until like 6 in the sun the whole time. And yeah, I did not anticipate getting sunburn. It's probably the worst sunburn I've ever had. It like hurts touching it. So,
Ugh.
but
So it sounds weird, but I'm telling you. apple cider vinegar, you just put like a little on a cloth or something and you gently rub it on. It takes the sting out of it. It does. I'm telling you. I know it's a weird thing, but I think you youngins say unk. That's what the unks do. So take the unk knowledge. That will help. You'll smell like apple cider vinegar for a hot minute, but you won't sting no more.
That would require me to go to the store and probably get that. So I think
Oh, I
let's.
am sure your mom has some in the kitchen.
But yeah, so that wasn't ideal, but the race was
Yeah.
good. I
Yeah.
was worried it was going to be a bit of a boring one because it's asphalt and it was a half mile, but it was not boring at all, actually. There was multiple leaders. Ty Majeski, who was the Truck Series champion last year, he runs pretty much whatever he can. He's running like an asphalt race, it seems like, and he
Yeah.
was there and he was leading. And then there was a controversial moment where a guy like in second was like to his inside and like got into looked like it got into him, but it was like such a little amount, like they weren't even sure like if it was he got into him or if Majeski just went around by himself. It was like that
Mhm.
close. But eventually they decided that he got into him. So the guy who was running second kind of got sent to the back and Majeski was done for the day. And then with I think Gabe Summers ended up taking the lead. And I always remember his car because he's got a big Quick Trip sponsor on the back. So big fan of Quick Trip. The Quick Trip with a K.
Yeah.
Um, and
Yeah.
then
You went to Alabama.
but he led for like a good chunk of the last half of the race, and then Casey Johnson ended up getting by with 4 or 5 laps to go. So usually with 200 lap races, you never know, a guy might be
Yeah.
checked out, but that was not the case. So I was satisfied with the ending. And they also do competition cautions, which I don't actually mind. Like after like 50 laps, they can throw one if the leader's just like 10 seconds ahead. They're like, all right, this is getting boring. We'll
Yeah.
we'll throw a caution. So
It's gonna be boring if we let this continue. uh, I like that. I like that. Yeah. So, um, but yeah, I've still not been to an asphalt race. Speaking of asphalt, I guess Elko near me just recently got sold. Someone told me that at Deer Creek.
mhm.
So, yeah. So,
Sold to a
interesting.
person who plans on keeping it a racetrack is what I saw. So
That's
there's that.
that's what I think. Yeah, actually, I think it was Justin or Racing Vagabond who was telling me that. That it was, I think it's some racers or some people who intend to keep it a racetrack. So that was kind of cool. So yeah. Anyway, speaking of that, so I went to Mississippi Thunder for the World of Outlaws and the Northern Lights Modified series on Saturday, and it was a freaking blast. So I do it completely different than you. Like this is gonna be such a this is so different. So anyway, it was me and then Sherry, obviously. She's my racing buddy. I've said a million times. But then I actually I didn't give the boys a choice. I just said, you're coming along. So Xavier and Colton came along. And then my like childhood buddy, lifelong friend, Joel, who I've known, we were reminiscing in the car drive out there, but I've known since I was like 12. So I've known him for like 28 years. So the five of us piled into the car. But anyway, the night before, I got everything ready to go. And on Thursday, I got like a wild hair. And I was like, all right, it's all of us. We're going to get there early because I wanted to get there early to get some seats locked down and to do the pit walk and everything. I'm like, all right, we're going to be there early. I'm bringing a whole crew. How can I feed all of us and kind of, not go completely broke? So I decided to go buy a little mini grill and bring that with. So I got a mini grill Thursday. We picked out food on Thursday as well. So we did hamburgers, brats, and hot dogs. That's what we decided we were going to grill. So anyway, so got all of that stuff packed, preloaded for the most part the night before. I took a picture and threw it up on social media, but like we were loaded. I have a I have a third row. Half was up for one person to sit in, and the other half was packed full of stuff.
I think you had more stuff in your car than me and Ryan had combined for a trip to Alabama.
I believe that. I believe that. Like I'm like this. All right, we're grilling. So like, I'm gonna need a surface to put it on. We had a broken TV tray, and I was like missing one leg. So I just took a piece of PVC pipe I had in the garage and cut it to length and just gorilla taped it onto the one part of the leg that was missing and surgeryed the leg right on and boom, that was our table to bring with us. So like I had a place to like set stuff. So anyway, it was pretty cool. So we hit the road around 11 and got there. I made my customary when I go. So two things about Mississippi Thunder. There's a lot of things about Mississippi Thunder, but two things about the drive. One, from the cities, it's gorgeous. I don't know. I don't remember exactly where you cut over, but you basically take like 35, I think it is, the whole way down by the river for like an hour and a half. And it's just the Mississippi River in the daylight going up and down like bluffs and stuff. It's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. And then I always stop at Sunrise Coffee on 35 in Bay City, Wisconsin, and get a coffee. It's like my halfway point. And so I'm like, all right, I got to stop, go to the bathroom, get a coffee. And with Sherry, obviously, I got to try to make it fun. So coffee is one of those things we try to find on every trip. But anyway, so we rolled in at like 1:45 for a show that starts at like 6. Anyway, so we get there. First thing we do is we unload all of our chairs and stuff, and we go and we get our seats set up, and we end up sitting in like right out of 4. So it's good seats, but we ate some dirt.
Oh, you were on
So
the opposite side of when I was there
Yeah.
last year. Okay. So
Yeah,
yeah, we were
yeah.
in turn
So
1 last year.
yeah, so we were in the bring your own seat seating. So like we
Oh,
just
yeah.
took the stadium chairs we have fold out legs. So we just took our stadium chairs and folded out the legs so they sit up like a stool. And then we just sat there on the bring your own stuff. I like that side. It is you do get hammered with some dirt, but you're at a dirt track. Like what else did you expect was gonna happen? I guess maybe I'm conditioned. We give you a hard time about your hearing. I had earplugs, but maybe I'm just conditioned to get a little dirty there, not really flinch and watch the race and enjoy the hell out of it. So, but anyway, so we got that locked down, and then I always do the pit walk at these big events, especially with World of Outlaws. It's like $5 more. Your tickets, whatever, and then to go in the pits is $5 more.
It's actually like it makes more sense to do it like versus like a show where it's like $30 more or something crazy to get in the pits. Because even when I got my tickets for the World of Outlaws sprint car show in Plymouth in a few weeks, I did the same thing. I was like, oh, $5, sure, I'll get a pit pass. Why not?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just totally worth it. It changes the whole thing. I know they're called pit passes, but passes.
Oh, we lost you for a second there.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, you're back.
Okay. So I don't know where we cut out, so I'll just say it again. But I just tell the boys all the time they're all access passes, because if you have that pit pass one on, you can basically go wherever you want in that facility at any time, pretty much, except for where only workers are allowed. But you can go to the pits when so I just tell the boys, like, if you find the racing not that interesting, like, go see what madness is happening in the pits if you want, because I promise you there's a lot going on over there. So anyway, so we got those. I had one waiting for me, and I thought I've been on the list a time or two. It feels so arrogant to say that, but I've been on the list a time or two. But anyway, so I was on the list this time, and I got it, and it's checkered flag. And so Sherry's immediately like, oh, checkered flag. I want a checkered flag. And they're like, it's because he's media. And the boys instantly were like, oh, Mr. Big Shot. Just boom. Just totally go in on me. So that was pretty funny. I played along right into it, but I let them have that one. Oh, but it also spurred them to ask a bunch of questions, like how'd this come about? Why does anyone think that you deserve this? Lots of insightful questions. But anyway, so that made it enjoyable, like having the boys there and just having them kind of be able to see that, to rip me, to do all of it. It added a layer. So I was really thankful that the boys were there the whole time. But anyway,
could you have gotten in the infield with that? Like media as in like photographer?
Yeah.
Oh, You should have took. I mean, just left. Say, guys, I'm gonna hang out at the infield for the night.
I mean, as far as I know, the one question I didn't ask is I should have asked what the Wi-Fi password was. but um but yeah, so I think I could have. I mean, it matched all the other photographers ones. So I wasn't prepared for that level of access. That was a step beyond what I was used to. But anyway, so yeah, that was the pit walk was all fun. Even before we left out, like I was getting extra excited because like RTJ was on the way and JD was on the way. And I was like, I was thinking Moran probably was gonna come. I don't know.
I didn't think Moran was. I thought Alberson would have for sure. Alberson seems to kind of just go. He ended up at Fairbury for their weekly show, but I thought
Okay.
Alberson would have showed up for sure.
I was
But
wondering about him too. Also, I mean, I think any of those top guys over there were contenders to come, but we got Overton too. So the field was pretty stout. They ended up with 49 cars. They had to go to the 6-heat format, and that was a record for this event. It was 49 cars was record late models for the event, so that was pretty cool. But yeah, but anyway, the grill, the tailgating was awesome. So after I did the pit walk, got the grill set up, that only took like an hour-ish. I'm always a little worried about time. Obviously, I showed up hella early. Like that's one of my anxieties is time. Like I want to get there early, get everything locked in. I don't want to be rushed. I don't want to be cramped. Like, you know what I mean? Maybe I'm weird about it, but that's
I
just
do
my
that
style.
sometimes, but not to that extent. Just
Yeah.
not a. I mean, for a bigger show, more understandable. But if I was going to like what is it, 2 hours from you?
Yeah.
Mississippi Thunder. Yeah. If I
Yeah.
went to if I was leaving for Beaver Dam at like 11 a.m., my mom would be like, "What are you doing?" They-
But I do that for most of those shows, and I make a whole day out of it, and that's just like how I want to do it, right? Like what am I going to do? Sit around for 3 hours and do what? You know, I'm getting ready to go do this thing. I might as well just go do it. Hang out at the racetrack. I'm always trying to meet people there anyway. So if you get there a little bit earlier, everyone's a little more low key. There's a little bit, you know, there's a little bit of opportunity to chat with people. Like I chatted with Dan Ebert for a quick second and made an ass of myself to Brandon Davis in the pits. And so like, I enjoy that. And the boys got a kick out of it. And they're just like, oh, that's so cringe. And Sherry's like, what? That's how you introduce yourself. You just say your name and shake hands. Like, they're like, that's so cringe. Who does that? So anyway, there's ups and downs. I enjoy being there. I'm not there just because I'm anxious about it, but obviously it plays a part of it. I'm not even gonna lie. But anyway, so got the grilling all and everything done with plenty of time to spare. It was fantastic. I'm a bomb griller. I've learned I'm a tailgater. I got a pop-up tent ready for next time already. We had that. We just forgot it. Gonna have to double up on the lawn chairs. We brought like 2 sets of lawn chairs and we're
Oh.
still a little light, because we had some inside and some outside. But anyway,
I
so
did
yeah,
do tailgating once at a racetrack. 2 years ago at Plymouth, me and 2 friends went there for the All-Star Sprint Car Show, and
yeah,
we did pretty much the same thing you did. We got there, we set up. My friend literally bought a mini grill like 2 days beforehand, and we went there. Thankfully, he had a truck, so the truck was our table. We didn't have to do
yep,
that. And then
yep,
yeah, we made burgers and had like chips and stuff and hung out there for like 3 hours. So I did it once, but yeah,
yeah.
normally I don't do that.
Yeah, well, we had done it last year, not quite to this extent, Sherry and I. Um, and like we hung out in the parking lot, and there was just kind of there's even this year, there's just tons of people doing it. So like when we were just trying to think of like how to not, I don't know, just to be real, just not to blow the bank on the thing and feed people twice over at the track, like how are we going to make it work? So that's how we decided to make it work, and we were not the only ones. There was tons
Oh
of
yeah.
people there. Yeah, so like it's there was people right next to us playing bags, and there's people over to the side that had music going. There was definitely a little bit of a party vibe, party atmosphere. So um I was happy to contribute my little smell and sounds and family to the whole thing too. I thought it was fun. So I'll definitely do more of that. We were talking the group of us that was there. We're talking about possibly doing that for USA Nationals too, because that place that's probably my favorite event right now is that one. That
At
one
those
that's a party.
at those bigger shows, it's like, yeah, it's really common to see
Yeah.
pretty much any like 2-day specials, but especially the big ones, where there's a ton of fans. Yeah, you see that. Even when I went to Madison,
Mhm.
it was packed there, and people were out doing it at like 10:30 in the morning. They were out
Yeah.
tailgating. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, obviously at a weekly show, you could do it, but it's just not as common to see people
Yeah,
tailgating
it'd
there.
be a little weirder, but it could still work. I mean, I don't plan on doing that. I think I'll reserve it for a little bit further trips and stuff where I know I want to go and spend some time there and I don't know. It seems like it might make it a little bit cheaper, which means I can do more of it. There's also that too. I go pretty hog wild when I go, but why not go do it this way? I don't know. Anyway, moving on. So that was sort of the fan experience of it all, which I soaked up and absolutely enjoyed. Like that's what I was there for. It was awesome. So I enjoyed that for sure. Um, the racing was good. Nick Hoffman in my opinion, just kind of kicked everyone's butt. He started fourth. He took the lead about 15, 20 laps in, and then um, he just kind of drove away. At one point, Bobby Pierce was working his way through up into the field and got around Overton for second. And I was tapped on Xavier's shoulder. I'm like, all right, let's watch Bobby. He seems to be making some hay. And he just kind of stalled out at that point. He moved into second. He just never really closed the distance. And so then a couple laps later, caution for Bruning or something, I think. And Xavier's like, oh, so this is his chance. And I'm like, well, this would be his chance. And Nick Hoffman just drove away. Just drove away. So, yeah, so there was not a lot going on there. But I mean, back in the field, obviously Bobby was moving forward. One guy that kind of impressed me with his raw speed early in the night is McCready. So we were talking in the Discord earlier this week. I did not realize he switched over to Longhorn as a few weeks back, but I don't know, man. His results were pretty good this weekend too. I'm just throwing it out there. He might win a big show or two this year. He just looked really fast. I don't know. Yeah, at those big shows, when they go out for hot laps and they go out for qualifying, and the guy's always just laying down a good time. His engine sounds a little different for some reason, and it's just like McCready was one of those guys for me on Saturday. He looked a little faster. He sounded a little like he had an extra horse under there or something. So anyway,
Are you saying
that's
he's
my
cheating? You're claiming he's a cheater now?
yeah, I don't even know if you can cheat. I mean, if you can fit the horse, there's no limit on how many horsepower you can have if you can transfer it down. So he's trying some things, I guess. I don't know, but yeah, that was one of the things I just wanted to mention because we're still race fans, and sometimes you just see some stuff. So keep an eye out on T Mac. He might win a big show or two coming up here. But anyway, yeah. The other big bummer was that Bobby Pierce and RTJ got into an incident in the heat.
Oh, yep, I did see that.
Yep. So Bobby jumped, got moved back a row. RTJ stayed on the outside, took a lead. Bobby that was a ballsy move through the middle, but ultimately made contact with RTJ. RTJ may or may not have clipped the wall up there. From where I was, it was kitty corner, so I can't confirm. But anyway, he ended up not transferring out of the heat because it was 6 heat format, so only the top three. He finished fourth, so he didn't. So that just kind of ruined it. I was excited the whole way up there, like we got these two together. And I guess that was all the little bit of racing we got out of him. RTJ did not make hay in the feature going forward. He pulled it in about halfway. So that was that on that. The mods were cool. Brandon Davis won, and he laid down a pretty fast lap and got DQ'd for deck height. So started
qualifying?
Yeah, for
Okay.
qualifying. He was like, might have been fast time or one of the top times. I don't remember exactly, but he's definitely in the top 5. But anyway, he got DQ'd after qualifying. So he started his heat at the back of his heat, and he proceeded to go on and win the whole thing. So I think he finished second in his finished second in his heat from dead last, and then drove to the front and won. So that was kind of cool. Um, but yeah, the other thing I thought was kind of neat was that Caden Blazer, who you and I were talking about recently too. I think that was a USRA car.
Yeah, at this point, I'm
Yep.
starting to think so because he hasn't entered a Wasota race yet. I figured
No,
for
he's
sure
not.
where he's located, he would have a Wasota car. Maybe he still does have his own too.
Yeah, I mean, he used to run with Soda. He
Yeah,
definitely did, but now this Mars car and running at Cedar Lake, that might be a USRA car.
I
I'm
wonder he
starting to
could
think.
follow the Northern Lights deal. He could follow that whole
I'm
thing.
thinking he might. That's a good point. But yeah, I think he might. Honestly, it seems like they may have picked up one guy from Cedar Lake to run that thing for at least one so far. But I thought, yeah, so I'm with you. I'm with you. I think it's a USRA car, and I think he might just run that whole thing. And he did. He finished.
Then
What did he
Saturday he did.
finish?
Didn't he win his heat Saturday?
Yeah, started. He led some laps, led about half the feature on Saturday, and ended up finishing fourth. There was a caution about halfway, and Dan Bailey, the announcer, over the loudspeakers, like, so really impressed with Caden Blazer. He's laying down fast laps. He's really putting some space between himself and Davis and Chisholm in second and third. It makes you wonder though, are these veterans just saving something? They got something for him here late, or they just wait until about halfway here, and immediately on the restart, Davis down low, Chisholm up high, just drove right around him, right away on the restart, and then the race was on. It was those two the rest of the way. I'm just like, dang, Dan, you called that. So, but yeah, so then the race was on for those two, and it was good for a bit. Chisholm never really got him let him get away, but it did tighten up a little bit in traffic, and then he just kind of just drove away again. So that was pretty cool. So
We should probably mention Friday's winners too, I guess too. Uh,
yeah, I mean, since we were talking about it. Oh, and by the way, so real quick before we do that, so Hoffman won 30,000. Oh, sorry about that. Small little technical difficulty. Carter's Wi-Fi went out in the middle of recording, so we're gonna jump right back in, just to clean up the edit a little bit. So Nick Hoffman won 30,000 on Saturday in the late model feature, and then Brendan Davis won 3,000 in the Northern Lights Modified Series feature as well. And then I was also mentioning they reconfigured the payouts a little bit, so it's supposed to be 10-10-75. And with the rain out, they went to 25-30. So I thought that was a pretty fair compromise as well. So anyway, as you were mentioning, Friday.
yes, Friday, which I was able to watch Friday because I
Oh,
was at home because of rain, per normal. Turbo picked up his first World of Outlaw win in 3 years, I believe it was, which I did
yeah,
not realize it's been that long. Um, but yeah, he started on the pole or on the front row at least, if I
I believe
remember
on the
right,
front
and
row,
then
right? Yep.
he had some challenges, but like he kind of like there was really no point where he was like in a major threat of like someone from behind. And then with like what 2015 to go, he kind of just he was gone. He checked out
Yeah.
after that. But the,
Yeah. I think
there
he
was
was
go
uh,
ahead.
to your point. I think about what you're about to say though is I think he was helped a little bit by Hoffman and Pierce kind of cutting it up behind him. Those two
Oh
did
yeah,
jockey back and forth a good bit of the race. So he was afforded, not taking anything away from him, but he was afforded that to just kind of skirt away, and they raced for positions behind him. So, but yeah, the racing behind him was good. Winger came from, I don't know, backup car territory, wherever that puts you,
oh
to
yeah.
fifth.
And
So
McCready at one point drove past Pierce to believe get to third. He ended up Pierce ended up getting back by him, but there was a point where McCready drove by Pierce, which he couldn't. If you told me
yeah.
like a month ago that was going to happen, I wouldn't have believed you. So
Right? Like I said, it sounded different. Just see, there's something there. I was taking a look. Yeah, so he finished fourth. Eventually came home fourth, but yeah, I believe he was cutting it up with Hoffman and Pierce, and there were good battles behind the leader for sure. Um, and then on the modified side, real quick too. So that was 2,000. Joe Chisholm won that. He came from somewhere back in the field too, I believe, and won on a
Last lap,
Pat,
I believe. It wasn't last corner, but I believe it was last. I think it was going
yeah.
into one.
So it was coming to the white flag. That was what I was stumbling over. So coming to the white flag. So coming out of 4, coming to the white flag. So basically a lap last pass.
Yeah.
As close as you get with not. Yeah. Let us know if you think that counts. I mean, he's coming to the white flag, but yeah, that one. He just could get lower than everybody else, and then once he'd get underneath them, they just kind of move up the track, race respectfully, and he drove around everyone. So that was cool to watch him just. I don't know. I call it digging the ditch, but dig a ditch all the way to the front. He just was lower than everybody else.
He drove past. Is it Keith Voss? Is that the name?
Keith,
Yeah,
Keith
that's
Foss with an F.
Voss.
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
He led like the whole thing pretty much until
All of it. Yeah.
that pass. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. He led dang near the whole thing. So yeah, that was good racing all around, I think, for sure. Between the mods and the late models. Although I had said I thought the mods would steal the show, and I think I was mostly right on that. I mean, almost last lap pass, and then multiple leaders and a guy coming from basically dead last qualifying to win the whole thing. I think I was right. Also, I want to pat myself on the back. I said 35-ish, maybe more, and we nailed 35 on Friday. So
You lost a couple of Saturday, but that was because like I know
yeah,
Barry was there, Tom Barry, and he had something
yep.
go on. And then
He lost a motor.
and then a few other
Yep,
guys.
yep, yep. So yeah, 32 on Saturday, but
I wasn't expecting the late models to get as many cars as they did, though. I thought that was going to be around 35-ish, and they ended up with nearly
I would.
50. I mean, it helped obviously with the Lucas rain
Yeah,
out, but yeah, that was kind of shocking to me.
they were at. I mean, they were at
Is it
the day before. I didn't write it
40,
down, but it was
42 or something? It was between
42 or
40 and
something.
45. It was between
Yeah.
there.
Solid car count. When I saw the roster get loaded into Dirt Draft, I was like, "Dang, are we really getting?" I like Shane Clanton was there. There were some surprises for sure. I think so. Yeah, I was surprised, but I think it speaks. It's one of my favorite tracks as a fan. Between the drive and just the pictures and the backdrop is just gorgeous. It's just gorgeous. But then all the drivers, I mean, Turbo said it's like one of his top tracks. He didn't say it was his favorite, but he said it one of his tops. Gustin said it was his favorite. Like at the accolades of the track, like everybody had nothing but the best things to say about the track itself, not just the facilities, like the actual racing surface and
Yep.
the racing. So, I mean, I think it's going to just keep growing. So I dig that. I dig that because I'm going to keep going back. But yeah. So anyway, the Lucas got 1 of 2. We can move on from there. I think we talked about the Outlaws plenty now. Lucas got 1 of 2 in at Circle City. Overton won. He actually led some of Saturday's feature at Mississippi Thunder. Yeah, I'm stumbling. Oh, sorry. Another technical difficulty. My processor's lagging.
But yeah,
Just
at
kidding.
at Circle City, yeah, Overton, I believe, led pretty much most of it, but he had challenges from Elberson and Moran at one point. There was a
Yeah,
few points where I was like, oh, this is where he gets past, and then he just kept hanging. He stayed on the bottom, and it
yeah,
all worked out.
yeah, yeah, and picked up 15 grand, which probably inspired him to go run up and try to win some more. But yeah, so yeah, I watched a little bit of it. It was a solid race. I think you had mentioned weather might have played a factor, not necessarily the day of, but it just been wet there.
It rained a lot. That's just
Yeah,
kind of what I've seen and heard when
yeah,
I was watching. It rained a lot, so I just don't think it could widen out. It never really dried out, I don't think, at any
yeah.
point.
Well, I was scrolling around. I saw the Northern All-Star late models go there again. I've always thought of that as a sprint car track. So
They run a lot of
interesting.
like non-wing. I mean, it's Indiana, so a lot of
Yeah.
non-wing sprint car stuff
Yep.
there.
Yeah. So I probably look for highlights of something of that later in this month. It's not coming up anytime soon, but it's just weird that I was surprised when Lucas was there, and now another series going there. So, I get it. But anyway, and then on the mod side of things, real quick, the Mod Mafia was at County Line for 2,500, and Cole Hilton won that. And you told me, I guess Strickler was in attendance.
Yep.
So
He took 20th. Looked like they don't have it listed as DNF for anyone, but I'm assuming he just had a
yeah,
DNF. So
probably. So, but congrats to Cole Hilton. And then the Mars mods got one of two in. Red Hill got rained out as well. But Kankakee County Raceway for 5,000 and
oh, I don't remember the number.
94. I doubted you would, but I was gonna test it.
I
It's
almost said
94.
53.
That's later. Save that for later. I got that teed up for you. But yeah, $5,094. Michael Long won that. Cole Falloway was second. Stephen Brooks was third. I caught some of this on Cole Falloway's Facebook. There's always a risky proposition. You never know if you're going to get to see the parts of the race that you maybe are interested in, because like naturally they follow their guy. But Cole was, when I tuned in, Cole was cutting it up for second with Stephen Brooks for lap after lap. And Michael Long was out in front, but I got a picture. I see him coming through every time. Cameraman was fantastic. I gotta say, the cameraman was good. It was a nice, steady hold. Whoever was working the camera, kudos for sure. But then there was a caution. I don't even want to say late because there's no lap count. I'm kind of out in the wild on this one, but there was a caution with some amount of laps to go, and Falloway and Long darted off and had a race for the win, and Long held him off. But so it was a lucky find. It was a random scroll after the Outlaws, and I came across it, and I got to watch a pretty cool race. So I was lucky. I appreciated it. So, but anyway, I think that's all the results we wanted to touch on this week. So as I mentioned up at the top of the show, Illinois Speedweeks is this week, and Carter had I think of the brilliant idea that we would each make our sort of like own Speedweeks, and we talk about it a little bit, and we talk about like what classes and what tracks, and kind of like justify our thinking a little bit. So we're gonna call it the DirtInfo Podcast Speedweeks segment, and we're gonna kind of break it down. We have not told each other either. That's my favorite part about this. We have ideas based on some things, but we really don't know.
I think the only thing we both know is like what the main, like the headlining class is for
Yep.
ours. And I
Yep.
should mention too, we're pretending that you're gonna get a good card count no matter where you go. So
Mhm.
like if I wanted to do IMCA stock cars in Wissota country, I would get 40 stock cars no matter, even though there's none up there. That's what I'm doing. But just in this example, so like card count isn't an issue. So we could
Right.
pick tracks that we wanted. Do you want me to start?
Yeah, I think so. I think this is your idea. I'd love to see what you came up with.
Okay, so I was originally gonna do Wisconsin tracks by me, but there just wasn't 5 tracks that I would honestly want to see this at. So no, he's not in like a close enough range for like a speed week unless I had like a 4-hour drive, which I don't want to have included in a speed week.
Right.
So I went with Iowa instead. I thought about Illinois, but they got Illinois Speed Week already. So um
Be
and
redundant.
and we start off at a track that hasn't had a ton of big late model shows, but we start off at Dubuque, Iowa, which is like the closest Iowa track to me. And I did go there for I think their last big late model show, and that was an XR show. They had like 40 cars. It was really rough, and I think Pierce won. That was a couple of years ago. It was on a Monday night. But we start there, and then we make oh, I should mention it's late models and IMCA hobby stocks are the support
Oh,
class.
wondering
Yeah,
what kind of
I thought
support
about
class
stock
we'd
cars,
get.
but I really like hobby stocks, so I to put them as the support class. And then we go over to Makokata Speedway, which is a 37-minute drive.
Okay.
And they have, as of the last couple of years, they have a bunch of big late model shows now with the Nippy 50 and then the Outlaw show that I can't remember the name of that they got. Um,
Yeah.
and then after Makokata, this is the longest drive of the whole trip. It's an hour-and-a-half drive to Benton County Speedway in Vinton, which I've mentioned a few times on here. I really like that track. It's
Yeah.
a quarter-mile track.
They were in the news.
They were. They had an interesting opening night. Probably find stuff about that on Facebook. But so we head there, and then after that we go an hour drive over to Marshalltown Friday. And this would be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Saturday.
Okay.
And we go over to Marshalltown, and obviously they've had a few Flow Night in America shows. They got one in a couple, I think next week or a week, 2 weeks from now, whatever.
Yeah,
Real soon.
the 13th. So
Yeah.
basically the Tuesday after this episode comes out. Yep.
And then after that, the final stop is Boone. And they've had, I think, two, maybe more, but as of late, like two Outlaw shows, two or three. And for some reason, the track just like never, I know a few times they deal with like wind and weather, but like for some reason, they could just never get the track right for late models. But I think if they could get it like perfect, like how it is for when they have their IMCA shows, it would be a banger. So I'm giving them
Yeah.
another shot at it. So
All right. All right. Fair enough. So I like that. So have you been to every one of those tracks? You've been to every one, right?
yes, I have been to
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually kind of a theme of mine too. I thought about like putting like aspirational tracks where I maybe
I
want to be, but
I did the same thing, but I was like,
yeah.
I know how these tracks race for sure from being there, so that's why I think why I included them because I thought about putting like Independence in Iowa, but I've never been there, so
Yep.
I have seen
Yep.
video, but yeah, I just felt like I need to be there to make it onto my list.
Yep. Random question, off the top of your head, are those all quarter miles? Or are there
No, Dubuque, I don't think is. I think it's a third. Maquoketa is. Vinton is. Marshalltown claims to be, but I don't believe them. And Boone, I don't. Boone, I think is a third. I think.
Okay. Okay. So a little bit of diversity, but you kind of went with the
Yeah,
small track flavor.
we weren't going any huge tracks.
Okay. Okay. I didn't either. But I did go a little bit bigger. But no, I dig that. That'd be a fun one to go. And like just how you said we're kind of suspending reality and just assuming. But I think you would get a banger field if that fell on if they incorporated that into a series or something, because you'd get I think a lot of the Mars guys, and then all those tracks would bring
Especially
drivers. I
if
think so.
it's like a Lucas or Flow Night
Yeah.
stuff. It
Yep.
would, yeah, I think it would work out. And
Yeah.
then the hobby
Yeah.
stocks always get big car counts, it seems like over there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you might get
Yeah.
about 50 of those guys if you pay a
Yeah.
little bit
You get a
more.
banger out of them too, for sure.
And the
But
one plus with hobby stocks I want to add is if the track happens to rubber from the late models, hobby stocks can race on rubber. Like it doesn't affect them. They'll race four wide on a rubber down racetrack, and it's like it's not even there. So
I dig
that's
that.
part of it. You get one bad feature, you can still have a good hobby stock feature.
Hmm. Right on. That's true. So you're basically like you're gonna do late models to like
First.
yeah,
Yep, they'll be
and then
first.
yep, and then put the hobby stocks on to just close it with a banger.
Exactly.
I get that. Yeah, I dig that.
So maybe the hobby stocks are the headliner in this one.
In a reverse kind of way, right? But I dig that. I dig that. So I'll do mine. Like I said, it ended up all being tracks that I've been to myself as well. So I went with modifieds, and I've probably thought way more about this before this exercise. Like, because I daydream about what I would do with the Dirt Info modified tour for sure. Because I'm like, we need something in Wissota land. But I'm actually coming around to the idea of like, we don't need one in Wissota land. We just need one that draws Wissota cars and goes to Wissota tracks and has USRA and sort of open. I think those three sanctions, I think like UMP/open and USRA and Wissota can compete side by side, and it's a good thing. But anyway, where I'm at, it's just probably Wissota and USRA, but I've made it even in so many ways. So anyway, and I thought about it a little bit more. It's 10K up top every show, 10K for mods. I gotta draw them in somehow, Carter. I gotta put some money up, and then we got a point fund we're paying through the top 10. We're paying through the top 10. We gotta keep them coming back. I gotta make this happen. So, and then I got USRA, Wissota, that same sort of when they like Wild West shootout rules kind of thing,
Yep.
right? For B mods. So, and I'm doing.
Is that your
That's my
support class?
That's my
B-mods?
support. Yeah.
Oh, you lost me. Not showing
I
up.
know. So here's my thing. I had to be a little bit like, I don't know enough to know if I can do like with Soda and USRA stock cars. I don't think they can. I think there's some too many differences there. I don't know, but I don't know. My technical limitations, I wanted stock cars. I could have said IMCA stock cars, and I probably could have been okay with this.
Well, fictional world, you do get a good car count no matter what. So
That's true. That's true. But I went with the B mods because I think the B mods can put on a banger. Much
I
like you said, if you put them at the second one after the big feature, I think they can put on a banger, and that's what I'm counting on. And where I'm going, I'm getting car counts.
I
I'm
don't
getting
I
good
don't
drivers.
dislike B mods. I just for some reason I got this thing. I don't like when like I'm going to like say there's two classes and the two classes are like the exact same looking cars, you know? Like if
I
I'm going
know.
to a late model show, I don't want 604s as my support.
I hear you. They're a little bit different, but I'm willing to
They
take that.
still
But
race good.
I
I'm fine with
am
the
the
racing.
I am the modified guy, and like shameless plug a little bit here. I saw that Ashley Merriworth was, or Ashley, it's Ashley Boyne, but it's Ashley Merriworth racing. I'm gonna have to get with her and figure out how I need to do this. But Ashley Boyne was on Dirt Race Central by her car and just proudly displaying a Dirt Info logo, just right there on DRC. For I was just. Man, I was proud. So anyway, I suppose as good as time as any for the Mareworth minute. Ashley did get out for the first time at Granite City, and then for their 1,000 to win show and suffered a DNF. So on to the next one. It is what it is. But that was cool to see the snippet that they did an interview with her, and our logo was right there, dude. It's pretty rad. So anyway, transitioning back. So I'm doing mods and I'm doing B mods and I'm doing it because I'm the mod guy. That's just what I'm doing. But anyway, so I thought a lot about this. So we're gonna open up Sunday night. I'm doing it a little bit different.
Oh, okay.
We're opening up Sunday night Granite City. We're doing the opener Sunday night Granite City. That's a 3rd-mile track, and then we're gonna start there. And we're actually gonna make a loop. So I've plotted this out. So then Monday we're gonna head over to Cedar Lake. So I did 3 WISSOTA tracks, 3 USRA tracks, and then 1 like
Oh, you did 7
Fairfield.
tracks?
Yeah, I did
Oh,
a whole
dang.
week.
I,
I
I
did
was
a whole week.
I was just gonna do 5. I would have added
Yeah,
more. That's okay.
yeah. All right. My bad. I
Well,
went a
can
little
I just
extra
say
deep.
then? Can I just say I'm
Yeah.
gonna toss in on mine on that Sunday after Boone. It'll be Stewart
All right.
Speedway or Raceway, and it's not too far away. So that'll be
All right.
it's quarter mile. That'll be added on to my speed weeks.
Perfect. So then from Granite City, we're going to Cedar Lake. It's 1 hour and 45 minutes. So not too bad of a drive, about a 2-hour drive to get over there. And so we went from a 3rd mile at Granite City, 3/8 mile at Cedar Lake. So that's what we're doing Monday. Tuesday, we're heading down to Mississippi Thunder, 3rd mile track. That's a USRA track. And then so that's Tuesday. Wednesday, we're going to Winneshiek. I'm not.
Yeah, I know what you're
I.
talking about.
Yep. That one's down in Decorah, Iowa, and I'm doing that so Brad can come to one of my races. That's another USRA track, and then we're gonna go to Deer Creek in Spring Valley, Minnesota. So anyway, my drives. I'm sorry, I missed that. 2 hours to Cedar Lake, and then from Cedar Lake to Mississippi Thunder is also 2 hours. And then from Mississippi Thunder to Winneshiek is about a 145. Then Winneshiek to Deer Creek, hour and 15 minutes. I'm trying to keep these.
They're all manageable in one day easily.
Yeah,
So.
absolutely. Yep. So so that's 3/8 of a mile at Deer Creek, and then we're coming back. We started up by me, and we're gonna end back by me. So that's Thursday at Deer Creek, Wednesdays at Winneshiek. Friday, we're going to Princeton. And that's a 1/4 mile. And that's the longest drive. That's about a 3-hour drive. So I did my best, but there's a 3-hour from
You're gonna lose the
Thursday to
drivers.
Friday.
The car count's gonna drop going into. I'm kidding.
Well, I might have to boost these payouts then. But remember, there's a points fund. I had thought about this. I thought I had. But anyway, so Princeton, which is a 1/4 mile, and then I'm finishing it out at the absolute home track at Ogilvie. We're gonna close her out there on Saturday night. So, and that's a 30 so I get him back. I made you drive almost 3 hours, but then it's just a 30-minute drive from Princeton to Ogilvie. 30 minutes.
Is this Sunday to Sunday? Is that what you said you're doing?
Sunday to Saturday.
Okay.
Yep.
If you could throw in a Sunday track, what would you throw in? Make this screw it.
Ooh, I mean, Granite's my Sunday track, so
The
I would
second
like.
Sunday track, I should say.
Yes. So then, you're hanging
5
me out to
hours to
dry.
Luxie. 5 hours. We're
Yeah,
going 5 hours to
five
what?
hours. So I was thinking about 141 in Luxie, but I'm like, I can't make it work. That's how
See,
Cedar Lake was
that's
like a
why
way station, but I couldn't get all the way out there.
that's why
I
I
was
didn't do
gonna.
Wisconsin because there's the big gap in Wisconsin where there's like no dirt tracks essentially.
Yeah.
It's like east side, west side, and there's like nothing really in the middle. So and
Hmm.
like whatever. I'm going to a different state now.
Yeah.
And then if I go to the east of me, it's a lake, so I'm kind of screwed. You can go at least east and west.
Yeah. 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 I can't think of another Sunday track anywhere close to me. So yeah, we're just Sunday
Just
special at Luxie.
screw it. We're just coming. Sorry, guys. We're gonna make you
50K to
drive.
win banger.
Yeah, we're going make it worth it for him.
Yeah, I'm kidding. But no, the short of that the last little bit, I loved it. I mixed it up. I tried to do quarters, thirds, and 3/8. I've seen banger races at all of them. So I just figured that every one of them would put down a good race, kind of like what you did. So that's why I picked them, and they're all nice facilities, and I all like them. So that's why.
I guess I never thought of payouts. Mine would probably be similar like Illinois Speed Week, like 20,
Like 20,
20,
20,
and then
20.
maybe Friday and Saturday I'd up it like I think that's how it is actually for Illinois. I think it's 25 at Farmer City, and I'd probably do the same for Marshalltown, and then 30 at Boone.
Yeah.
And then hobby stocks, they can get look at them 2,000. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
That's a
2000.
lot
That's
for them.
solid pay. Yeah, solid pay. Yeah. So, no, the 10K number, that's like the Dirt Info mod tour. I'm like, if you could just one weekend a month, a 3-day natural 3-day swing, right, through 3 tracks that just do their Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Just pick one a month, boop, 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 10K each night,
And
once a
even
month for
you could
for
take
4 months.
advantage of like Memorial Day and get a little 4-day swing in there too.
Yeah, right. And it's just that one time, and then I think you can have just like 10K a race. I don't mean to pretend it's not nothing, but if you're managing the relationships and getting the cars across the sanctions, getting all the stars to show up, and they're coming to you, and then you're going to them, and I don't know, man. We'll see. Another day, another time. Moving on. Illinois Speedweeks itself is this weekend, or this whole week. This whole week it starts. Technically, when this episode comes out, it'll have started tomorrow. So we'll have one race in. We unfortunately can't tell the future / know the past, so we're unsure. But they're opening up at LaSalle. I'm excited for that. Are you excited for LaSalle?
I am. I don't think I've seen a race from LaSalle on like anything like streaming. They
Yeah.
closed, was it 21 or something? I may have seen like a Hell Tour race on there or something, but
Yeah.
yeah, they've been closed for a few years, and so we've seen the other 4 tracks multiple times. They're all still good, but I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to LaSalle. It's kind of the unknown, I feel like, going into
Yeah.
it, even though most guys have ran there in the past.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, that even better for us. So they have an idea what to do to make a bomb race, and we get to see it for the first time. It's a win-win for everyone. But yeah, so they're LaSalle Tuesday, Wednesday, Spoon River, and then Thursday's Lincoln, and those are all flow races
Yep.
for 20K. And then Friday is Farmer City for 25,000 with Lucas. And then Fairbury is Saturday for 30,000 with Lucas as well. I bet you're pumped about that. You'll probably be at a track and miss it, but I know
Yep.
that's your
I'll
fair.
be at Plymouth, so hopefully
Yeah.
they take their sweet time on Saturday. Feel free to run the feature at 11 o'clock midnight. That works for me.
And so I didn't realize this, but you told me that UMP mods are the support class.
Yeah. Assuming they
That's
didn't
awesome.
switch it up on me, it should be UMP
Okay.
mods for all
I mean,
5. I
running
think
the
the LaSalle one, I'm not sure. Oh, no, yeah, for LaSalle it is
okay.
also. So
So I bet they'll get a solid car count for that too.
yeah,
I
I think
mean,
I'd say probably close to probably a B main for sure at all of them. I think LaSalle is kind of like north, like there's like that part of Illinois that's like more north where there's not many mods, so they might
okay.
not get a ton. Like Sycamore, I think it's kind of near like Sycamore. Sycamore gets like no mods, so they just dropped them from like the Hell Tour.
Okay.
But since it's like a Speed Week thing, they might all go up there anyways. Just say screw it and drive up there. So
Yeah. Hopefully. And if not, I mean, I'm just excited. This is all on flow, and so I don't know. I bet Chase Holland will be at most of these. I know
Oh,
we
I
throw
bet
that
he
name
will.
out a lot, but yeah, I mean, he's like setting up shop in Illinois and just race chasing. So I know he'll be I suspect he'll be at a fair bit of these. And then yeah, I mean, all those other guys were just. Speaking of him, he finished like sixth at Kankakee, and then Red Hill rained out, and he went to Fairbury, and I'm
Yeah.
sure plenty of people did too, but he went there and won. So like, yeah, I don't know. I just think there'll be solid car counts, and we'll see the Michael Longs and the Cole Falloways and these names that we keep talking about over and over and over again. I'm sure most of them will be at these. So, we haven't mentioned Trevor Neville's name much this year.
No, but I bet you'll
So
be there.
I bet he'll be there, and we might end up eventually mentioning it. So, um, just notice he hasn't been running towards the front as much. Stephen Brooks is a guy that's been running pretty solid at these Mars races too that I don't know much about and want to learn more about, but he finished third up there. Anyway, I'm rambling. Moving on. Some other quick hitters around the nation this upcoming weekend. Comp Cams is at Batesville for 5,000 and 12,000, and I don't know. I always every time they race, I just go, I bet Kate Dillard will be there. I bet Kate Dillard will be there. So I bet Kate Dillard will be there. You got any guesses? Billy Moyer? You think Billy Moyer might be there? He was at Mississippi
He
Thunder.
might.
Yeah,
I could also see him going to Illinois Speed Week though too, Billy
yeah.
Moyer.
I suspect he will. I think that's why Kate Dillard was up that way too. But anyway,
What
so
yeah, actually Cade Dillard what I saw was going home. So
oh, was he?
yeah,
Okay.
I saw he posted on Facebook. He was like so many miles down, like 600 more to go.
Okay.
Go.
He
So
didn't have a great weekend, that's for sure. That was a tough weekend for the Thriller. So he should have brought his mod. I said he was for sure
I
bringing a
thought
mod, and he didn't.
I was
Yeah,
surprised. Sorensen, Tim, or Dillard, none of them had. I
yeah,
thought for
none
sure
of them.
at least one of them would have their mod out.
I thought so too.
The one guy doing double duty was Corey Crapster. At least on Friday. I
Yeah,
assume it was the same Saturday.
yeah,
So
yeah. He was the only one. There was a whole candidate of guys, and not a single one. I was a little surprised. So I mean, heck, even Hoffman made a mention in his Victory Lane speech. He's like, people ask me why I don't bust out a mod and come up here and try to win 100 grand. And he's just like, I'm just too locked in on the late models. Like my mod guys take care of themselves. But, but yeah. So then spring nationals. I feel like that's just Ray Cook's version of our speed weeks, and he just goes to tracks that he thinks are gorgeous. Almost all of them are picturesque in their own way. But anyway, spring nationals, Rock Castle Speedway. Any idea where that is?
Virginia, am I
What?
close?
I mean, regionally, yeah. I don't know the map by the back of my hand. You
Is
might
it?
be one or
I don't
two
know where
states
it
over
is. South
though.
Carolina, maybe.
No, Kentucky.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're in Kentucky this
Oh,
weekend.
yeah, that makes. They're at Lake Cumberland tomorrow, or
Yep,
Saturday, aren't they?
on
Yeah,
Saturday. Yep. So, Rock Castle Friday, 7,500 and
53.
nailed it. And then Saturday, Lake Cumberland Speedway, 10,000 and
53.
nailed it.
One of these times it's going to be like a memorial race. It's not going to be 53.
uh, so so in the mod world, Mod Mafia runs again this weekend in Winchester for 3,000. That's in Virginia though, not the other Winchester. The other Winchester's like ginormous, right?
Talking about the asphalt track.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a big.
yeah,
It's like super banked. Silver Crown
yeah,
goes there. It's
yeah,
very, very
yeah.
banked.
Yeah, I just for some reason I knew it was a track, and my brain's like that thing's huge.
Yeah,
Ask Carter. All right. So anyway, moving on from that, um, and then the Heartland Modified Tour fires off as well, and they're at Lebanon Midway Speedway for 3,000 and
couldn't tell you there. 3,000? Just 3,000
3,000.
exact?
Nope, and $2 and $2. I knew you didn't know. And then they're at Lucas Oil Speedway on Friday, and I didn't see a payout on that, so
On
maybe just a
Friday they're
family.
at Lucas?
No, on Saturday they're at
Okay,
Lucas.
okay.
Friday,
I
yep,
was confused.
yep. Friday they're at Lebanon Midway Speedway for $3,002. And then, so that's all the racing going around, sort of nationally or regionally. What are you doing this weekend?
I think it's pretty much same as like the last like 3 weeks. They're scheduled to be. It's just
Schedule.
Luxembourg and Plymouth. I got a stream both days, so that's where I'll
Okay.
be. And then this is my last Sunday off until July 6th. I have a race every single Sunday, which
Oh
for not
man.
having a track within 2 hours racing on Sunday by me, I don't know how this happened, but
Oh man. So are you doing anything Sunday or are you just gonna rest?
I am gonna be taking my one day to sleep in pretty much.
Better than going and getting sunburnt.
Yeah,
For sure. So I'm gonna be at a baseball field Friday night and Saturday night for sure. Sunday I had aspirationally thought I might go to the Wasota Late Model Challenge Series race at Granite City, but I don't know. That day's filling up fast. So I might not make it there. I want to, but I might not. I'm hoping. Um, I'm hoping I can, but not at the expense of anything I should do instead. So we'll just see how it shakes out. But I'm leaning towards probably not going to be there. Um, but anyway, Carter, I think that's everything we had to plan to talk about so far. So that means we've got one thing left. So it's time for
the one for the road. And mine, well, I think last week mine was Clay County, I believe.
Mhm.
Okay, and they're running as we speak, and we're gonna do a live update. See, I doubt they're done with nope. Running B mains.
We
So
got
we
nothing.
don't know who won, but they have a 5,000 win show. I was hoping they keep it moving tonight. Um, so we could update you. But I'll go with for my one for the road. The Cody Summers got the DRT, I believe it is. It's
ERT.
yeah,
Yep.
race DRT. It's like his late model chassis, and I don't know what DRT stands for. Do you?
Dirt
Dirt
Racing
racing. That was
Technologies.
my guess. But he's doing a thing, like a driver can like send an application to drive his car, the Dirt Late Model Dream Eldora in like a month
Mhm.
or so. And he posted like the top 50 of the I think he's like 200 people applied or something like that, and he posted his top 50. And there's a few
Mhm.
like interesting names on here, like Emerson Axum, who runs sprint cars and some non-wing stuff, JJ Yaley, but then there's like IMCA guys, Tim Ward, Chaz Baca, Dylan Thornton. But there's a bunch of names. It's on Race DRT's Facebook if you want to look at it. And he said too to comment your top five on it. So
Hmm.
um, but yeah, I kind of wanted to see like a Miles Moose win it or an Unzicker, a guy that I think would compete and probably wouldn't be there otherwise. But I also
Yeah.
wouldn't be mad if one of the IMCA guys won it either. Like Dylan Thornton, I think would be really cool
Yeah.
to win it. But yeah, I thought that was an interesting deal for that whole for the dream, I guess. Hopefully he does something like that at the Dome too. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be kind of cool. Like you said, hopefully it's someone that adds one more
Yeah,
name. Yeah. But
not someone that's gonna be there anyway. It's like, oh,
yeah.
I could just get it, not destroy my car.
Yeah.
At,
So I think making almost a bit out of it at this point. I think Chase Holland was on that list I saw as well.
yep.
Um, yeah, and yeah, so there's definitely some interesting names. My sleeper pick is Max McLaughlin. I thought he was driving the car anyways. So I saw
Oh,
he was on the list.
another another interesting one is Matt Shepard, the big block guy. He's
Oh
on there
yeah,
too. So
yeah. I think he was there. He was in a late model last year.
yeah, I believe
Yep.
was it at Georgetown or something? I think it was at Lucas
Uh,
Swing. It might have been more, but he was at I think he was at maybe this was 2 years ago. He was at the
no,
Lucas
no,
Swing.
no. This was at Eldora last year, I
Oh,
think.
you're talking
I
about
think.
Eldora. Okay. I think he
Yeah, I
did have
think.
another thing. Unless that was a different big block guy. I
I
think he
think
did
you're.
run
I think
one.
you're thinking that Ross Chastain ran Georgetown and
That's
something
what
one
I'm
time.
thinking.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. So, well, look at that. We'll get there eventually. We
I'm
definitely.
sure he's got a late model start, Matt Shepard at least
Yeah.
a few. So
Yeah, he does. He definitely does. So that'd be an interesting name too. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. So, all right. Well, my one for the road, recapping mine from last week, I talked about the USRA Ironman stock cars. So Friday at Fairmont, Miles McKell won $1,200, and then Saturday at Sports Park Raceway, Dylan Clinton won $1,200, and then on May the 4th at Mason City Motor Speedway, Brandon Hare won $1,200, and then just a quick mention: Joe Chisholm won the mods. I saw that when I was looking it up.
I saw they had a good car count there too, like
Yeah.
120, 130.
Pretty solid, but yeah. So my one for the road this week though is I have noticed that your outfit, Dirt Race Central, has started doing some power rankings, and they released the modified power rankings on Mondays for modifieds. That makes sense. I like that. Smart branding by them. Anyway, that's not why I was bringing it up. But so this week's number one rank on theirs is Joe Chisholm. And so I don't even disagree with it necessarily, but I just have so many questions on what the methodology is, how wide's the scope. Joe Chisholm wasn't racing on DRC this past weekend.
No.
So I don't
Either was
know.
the guy in second, Brandon
Neither
Davis.
was Brandon Davis, right? So like, I'm just curious how wide the scope is on this thing.
It seems to be like Wasota tracks, obviously, and then like the USRA tracks in that Iowa, Minnesota range, and then like the
Yep.
Minnesota IMCA tracks. That's from looking at it, that's how it seems.
That's what it feels like.
It's definitely not all the IMCA Iowa tracks, like how the USRA ones are included in there. But it seems pretty much anything around Minnesota and then the Wasota stuff.
I would love to know how wide this goes. I mean, it definitely isn't UMP. Like I can say with some certainty they're not being included in this. So, it's interesting. Like Caden Blazer's fourth, and he's been at Cedar Lake and MTS, I think, for the most part. Anyway.
Yeah, he may have had like hit somewhere else, but yeah, I know for sure he's been in those two places.
Yeah. So worth mentioning. Now, I didn't really want to talk about these particular set of rankings, but Shane Zabrowski is third. So like the top of my list, is just. But anyway, I'm just so interested by all of this. I want to know more. I did a little bit of digging and I didn't come up with much. I know there's a formula, and so there's that, but I'd love to know what's the range when like South Dakota, North Dakota start kicking up harder. Are they gonna get folded into this too? I don't know. I'm just so many questions, Carter. You work there. Give me answers.
Yeah.
I know you can't, but like I'm just this thing is interesting. It's building off I have that mod database that I put together of like the national and regional touring series, and that's broader scope, but obviously that I'm nerding out on that. I update that every Monday before the show. I like update all these winners in this database. DirtInfo.com, you can find it. But so like this keys into my other nerd thing. And so now I just want to know more about it, how it's working. Not even to like agree or disagree with it. I just want to know more because I think it's cool. So if those guys are by any chance watching, I'd love to know more. So anyway, I thought I would bring that up because that's kind of cool. It's kind of cool.
They have ones for other classes too, don't they?
They do. I'd even seen like last week someone was asking if there's gonna be a Hornet one, and they're like, yeah, we just got to get enough races in first. And
Oh, yeah.
One. So yeah. So I think it's almost all. I want to say all the Wasota classes, but
That's how
like
it seems. I'm curious. Will the USRA tuners be included in the Hornet one? It's so many questions.
Right? You see what I'm saying? I'm confused. I want to know the thought process here. Like Brandon Beckendorf, that's IMCA, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was I think probably at Arlington. Arlington's IMCA.
Yep.
He's in here. He's number 9.
Yeah,
So
I don't know what the range is. I mean, that's Minnesota still, so.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm
Yep.
not really sure. I'm not. One of these days, we're just gonna see a guy from like Texas leading the thing. It's like, oh, okay, I guess we're going further than we thought.
Yeah. All right. Well, stay tuned. If it gets funkier, we'll probably bring it up again and plead for more answers. So anyway, bud, I think that's everything we have now for sure.
Yeah, I think so. Hopefully the Wi-Fi doesn't go out before this ends.
Fingers crossed. Well, if you're still here, hit a like for sure. And we appreciate you always. And
I think it actually came out. We'll see you guys next week. Nice talking to you.